What's going on, everybody? This is Jeff with Island Hopper TV. So, we're going to go live and talk about the Big Island volcanic eruption that's taking place. Well, it's starting to look like a volcanic eruption as fissures are breaking in the ground. The rift zone is splitting, which is causing these earthquakes. They've had thousands, don't quote me on this exactly, but I believe they've had thousands of little mini tremors and earthquakes over the last couple days. And yesterday, the lava finally exploded through the cracks and the fissures started happening where the fountaining of lava happened. In the middle of the night, it had stopped, and now the lava is back, kind of fissuring and overflowing. They've actually called for a evacuation of the estates over there in Puna near Kalapana. So this is you know th- we just got done. The ocean entry just got done entering the ocean, which is where you had the Kalapana lava tours. Epic Lava with John Tarson would take you guys down there. That lava flow had stopped, and now Pu'u'o'o is the one that's getting ready to go. So you have the Pu'u'o'o vent, which is on, I believe, the eastern flank of Kilauea. So I've been in this area. I've walked around, as you know. I've walked all the way down there to the ocean entry. I've walked up the Pali to the to see it coming down the mountain after it had already burned the forest down. So I've been down there a couple times. Some of you guys have also been down there and experienced the lava flow going into the ocean and seen it firsthand. You can also check my channel on Big Island Flow. A lot of you guys already know that I manage Big Island Flow. It's on Facebook. We have 500, almost 500,000 likes. We're posting lots of content on there, keeping you guys up to date. If you guys are new here, you can smash up the likes, turn on the notifications. I'll do my best to get the information out there. Like I said, I'm also posting on Big Island Flow on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you guys need to stay up to date there, we're working side by side with John Tarson from Epic Lava. If you guys don't know about John Tarson, he's the guy who takes everyone right down there to the lava flow day in, day out, walks right down there that mile long hike down the Chain of Craters Road in Volcano National Park. So let's see, watching for support, but I'm a pro DJI in the UK, so can't hear things. Smash likes and I'll listen later. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, you guys are headed to Tokyo after watching those videos. That's cool. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I got a lot of information to share about that trip or that tour, but right now we're just going to talk about the big news that's happening on the Big Island, where the lava is exploding out of the ground or erupting out of the ground from the Kilauea volcano. So um, I can hear you just fine. Okay, so you guys can hear me. Someone said they can't hear me. So yeah, so if you guys want to know the information, so Hawaii's Kilauea volcano, it erupted Friday afternoon after the fifth time, and the islands suffered a series of volcanoes, with the latest registering at a magnitude of 6.9 on the Richter scale. That was felt as far away as Kona, right? So people in Kona are registering, or I used to live in Kona for a year, so my friends on Facebook are saying, "Hey guys, we're safe over here." They're marking themselves safe from the volcano over at the Leilani Estates. Um, Leilani is erupting. Like I said, on Big Island Flow, we posted a video from John from Epic Lava. You guys got to check him out. He's going to be staying on top of this also. But the Leilani Estates in Puna, for those of you who've been to Puna, down in the Kalapana area, it's beautiful. There's coconut trees everywhere. There's guava, there's mango, all types of different fruits that grow down there. But it's highly seismic. Got a lot of volcanic activity down in that area. And so Hawaii News Now is doing their best to stay on top of things. But, I don't know. I'm not necessarily advocating for you to go follow them as your necessary best news source. You can also check up on Big Island Now. They do a pretty good job of staying on top of things. So the south flank of Kilauea is where this eruption is happening. If you want to know a little bit more about what these volcanoes can look like when they're actually erupting, If you go to Big Island Flow's YouTube channel, I just posted one archive footage from Fred Rackle that CSV Hawaii actually gave us permission to edit and show you guys. Like I said, it's archive footage from Fred Rackle, 1960, down in Kapoho. If you guys have been to the Big Island, you know about Kapoho, you know about Puna, you know about Kalapana. There used to be a beautiful black sand beach down in Kalapana that's no longer there. So if you guys ever go down to Kalapana, you ever go down to I think it's what is it every Wednesday? Every Wednesday night they have that event, the market, and people get together and they sell things, celebrate every Wednesday, and it's beautiful down there, but if you wanted to go down to the ocean, you have to walk out over that new land, right? So there's new land there where there's they've even planted some little palm trees down there. But where Uncle Roberts is down there in Uncle Roberts, where they hold the event, that's where the ocean used to be. But now you have to walk about 5 or 6 football fields to get down to the ocean where there's a new black sand beach because that's where the new land is. Yeah, we're hoping that everyone's safe and that the people are taking the necessary steps. The emergency centers are open in Pahoa. When I first got to the Big Island, actually, there back in 2014, Pahoa had evacuated. The town of Pahoa. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Pahoa, but I was living down in Hawaiian beaches. Right now, I'm actually staying on Maui for a little bit, but I'm not on the Big Island. Not because I went away from the volcano, but because I'm on Maui temporarily. And so yeah, the when I was staying down in Hawaiian beaches, Hawaiian Paradise Park, the lava was threatening to flow, and everyone was looking at the maps because lava is like a river; it flows downhill, so it doesn't flow up the mountain. So if you're up Maka or up the hill, you were safe. But if you were downstream of the lava as it flows off Kilauea, Kilauea is not really a mountain like Mauna Loa, Mauna Kea, or Hawalai or Kaualai or Hawalai and oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. I know what it's Kohala. So those are the four main mountains, but the fifth volcano is not really a mountain because it's still growing, which is Kilauea. Volcanic eruptions are one of the few natural disasters that give a fair amount of advanced warning. Yeah, it does give a fair advanced warning. I mean, right now they've had like over the last 4 days, they've had plenty of tremors and activity, seismic activity, and then today, like I said, they had that 6.9 uh, earthquake. People are evacuating. Even John from Epic Lava, John's usually really he's usually really kind of gutsy. He'll go right down there, but he texts me. He's like, "Hey, I'm picking up my daughter from school. We're evacuating." And so when I heard that, I was like, "Whoa!" The most one of the more gutsy guys on the Big Island to go down there and check out the volcanic activity is evacuating. And then I'm still getting calls for people who want to go down to, because on Big Island Flow, people call me from that and they're like, "Hey, can we go down to the check out the lava tube?" It's like, did you just watch the news? The volcano is actually erupting. So they're wanting to go play in Volcano National Park, not being aware of the fact that there's actually a volcanic eruption happening in the park right now. So if John's evacuating, that says something. I mean, even Ikaika from Kalapana Cultural Tours, he's check him out, Ikaika Marza on Facebook. He's going live and he's saying, you know, he's not just getting out of there because of or I'm not sure if he's evacuating necessarily, but he's telling everyone, hey, you should take the necessary steps to evacuate, not just because of that, but there's also that sulfuric acid or that sulfuric dioxide that comes out of the ground that is actually toxic and can kill you. So the gases that are being emitted from the volcano are toxic also. It's not just the danger that exists in the uh, fissures from the volcano. Lava's hot, right? Like if it's one thing if it's flowing, and it's another thing if it's splashing in the air and it can touch you, right? And like I said, if you check out Big Island Flow's video about the 1960 Kapoho eruption, that's kind of what this could look like. And those volcanic fountains can go hundreds of feet into the air. I mean, they can make the largest fountain in the world look like a joke compared to what these fountains of lava can do. What Jessica says, just wondering because I don't know anything about volcanoes. The news article shared here in Tennessee didn't say anything about advance warning. Just over 1,000 people were in the evacuation. Yeah. Leilani Estates is not a very populated area. I mean, there's, you know, where the new land is down in Calipana, there's houses out there. Those are those houses that are on the lava flats, and they, it's just black lava rock right there on the lava flats, just past Calipana, and people live there in like mobile homes and stuff. You can't really, it's literally like hard rock, and if you want to build on it, you have to bring in some like red cinder rock from somewhere else. But those people probably also evacuated. And then there's Leilani Estates, which is where they're mostly under the threat. So I'm just doing my best to keep you guys posted based on what I'm talking to John Tarson about from Epic Lava, and I'm also keeping up to date with the guys from Big Island now because I also work with them. And then obviously being that I'm with Big Island Flow, we stay on top of all that. Is it affecting Kauai at all, or no? I mean, Kauai is way far away. I mean, here in Maui, we didn't even feel the tremor from the 6.9, but there was a little bit of an idea of, hey, is there going to be a tsunami from that? So we're kind of under this idea of like, could a tsunami happen? Uh, Being that where I'm located in Maui, I don't know. I mean, if there was a tsunami in uh, Hawaii generated from the Kilauea stuff, it would probably project south, which is opposite direction of Maui and definitely Kauai, right? Kauai's west of Big Island. The thing that I am seeing is that we do have volcanic weather right now. Volcanic weather is where the skies just become it's filled with the plumy air, that like cloud. It looks cloudy, but it's really volcanic. Like I call it volcanic weather in the sense that it's cloudy, it's gray, it's hazy. It looks like clouds, but it's probably a lot of having to do with the plume. If you go down to actual the volcano down in Kilauea, and you watch some of these videos, I mean, it's blue skies minus the plume. So the area of the thing that happens, the plume goes into the air and then it dissipates over the state of Hawaii, causing the Hawaii weather. Yeah, so that's called VOG, right? Kona gets just the it'll be clear skies, beautiful blue skies down in Volcano, and then you'll be in Kona and it's like Vog Central. I mean, all the Vog just kind of just settles right there up, and you can barely even see Hawaii all day long. You guys are saying gotta love the Vog. I don't know about love the Vog. Actually, Vog it's the kind of stuff it'll burn your eyes and makes your throat kind of icky in the mornings. It makes you a little bit fatigued. That's some of the stuff to keep in mind about volcanic smog. But he says aloha from the 303. She says aloha from the 303. So yeah, I mean, if there's any questions you guys have about this volcano, let me know. I'm trying to get the word out there because you guys are asking. But like I said, follow Big Island Flow. We're posting consistently. Breathing large amounts of sulfur dioxide could result in burning of the nose and throat and difficulty breathing. Okay, senior citizens, the young people with respiratory issues have extra insensitive to leave the need to leave the evacuation zone because they are especially vulnerable to the gas. So if you're trying to get down there to that area, just be aware of that. Now, 6.9 quake is actually the strongest to hit Hawaii since 1975. So since 1983, I believe, the Kilauea volcano has been erupting. That's why if you go into Volcano National Park, you'll see that the national park actually you could go see Howling Mau Mau, which is where the caldera is, where it's just a lava lake, right? You can watch it from the Jagger Museum, but this is actually the largest earthquake since 1975. So it's been a while since they've had this kind of seismic activity, which is leading people to believe that this is a little bit more than just hey, what we had back in 2014 and what we had here recently with the volcanic activity, where you could take the lava boat out there and watch the lava pour into the ocean, which was pretty spectacular. This potentially uh, this is something we haven't seen in the last couple decades. Do they think there's going to be a bigger quake coming in the next 24 hours? Well, I mean, once there's a little bit of seismic activity and then there's an actual larger earthquake, anything like that is possible. That's why they're issuing the evacuation. If they didn't think that there was going to be more activity coming, they wouldn't be issuing the evacuation. And those evacuation requests are starting out as recommendations, and now they're kind of turning into mandatory, right? So with mandatory evacuations, that means that there's a projected uh, that means they're yeah, if you guys are new here and you like live feeds from Island Hopper TV, you could turn on the bell. So turn on the bell, you subscribe, you turn on the bell, you hit the like button. That'll help you get the live feeds when it comes out, when we go live. If we were to end up going live from the actual volcano, if we have to go over there. I mean, obviously, I just talked about the dangers of sulfuric acid, but I mean, we could potentially end up going over there or figuring out a way to get over there. But that's not necessarily recommended. So I'm probably going to be doing things from a distance, but also keeping you guys updated with these videos as they're coming in from people who are in the area already. Is the volcano lava flowing into heavy population areas? No, these are not heavy population areas. We're talking hundreds of homes, maybe a couple hundred homes in the whole area of Puna. Puna is not a very populated area for this reason. It's very beautiful. It might be one of the most beautiful areas in all of Hawaii, Puna, no joke. But because it's got so much seismic activity and it constantly is under the threat of lava. I mean, this is the third time in the last 3 years that 4 years that I know of that there's been an eruption like this. This is possibly going to be the largest one. The other two were just lava flows. This one becoming a fissure is indicating that it's a little bit more than just a lava flow. Smash up the likes, guys, if you guys are here. So hit that like button and help get this video out there so that we can continue to get the news out there and keep this thing pumping. I'm okay. Yeah, don't worry about me. It's not me that you guys need to be worried about. It's the people down in the Leilani Estates. I'm over here on Maui. We're not seeing it. The only thing that we're seeing over on Maui is uh the residual effects from the sulfuric dioxide as it dissipates and pushes out, which is called volcanic smog. And that's no fun. I mean, that, I guess you could pray for everyone in Hawaii for having to deal with volcanic smog. Probably not a great time to come to Hawaii because you're not going to see that clear, that blue sky with the green contrast and the beautiful sunsets. Although volcanic smog sunsets can be kind of dramatic. It looks like the land of the rising sun in Japan, but that's from air pollution. So yeah, it's not a great time to visit Hawaii if you guys were trying to come out here. I mean, it's always a great time to visit Hawaii, but I mean, as far as like, it's not going to be the optimal time to visit Hawaii. I'm looking around at the West Coast. I'm from the West Coast, so I already have my business over there in San Diego, but I don't necessarily have to move to San Diego. And the reason I would be avoiding San Diego is because it's really hot, or not. I'm sorry, not hot, expensive. So I'm thinking of moving to Phoenix. I like Phoenix, but that was why I said hot. Phoenix is hot. Phoenix gets really hot. You guys are asking me about. You guys are asking me about Maui. Maui's cool. I mean, I lived on Maui for I mean, I've come and gone from Maui, but I've been on Maui, I've been to all the islands, but Maui's I like Maui. It's the most relaxing, I think. Mofo Game says thumbs up number 16. Thanks to everyone who smashed the likes. Hi from San Diego. Maybe a silly question, Jeff, but once the lava is hardened in the land, rendered useless and abandoned, can it ever be reclaimed? You mean if like you own the land and then lava comes over it and builds 15 feet more of land, right? Um, Yeah, I mean that's that law. There's a law actually. If airplanes or drones fly over your house, do you own the land? Um, I didn't make the name for this. It's called From Heaven to Hell, right? So do you own the land all the way below you and all the way above you? So if that was the case, airplanes wouldn't be able to fly over your house because it would be private property. So they had to make a law about the heaven to hell thing, meaning that you don't own the land above a certain altitude. So there's something elevation. There's something that has to do with that. So that's a really good question. I don't know the exact details, but I do know that like if you owned there is this question about that. That's a great question. Did Maui suffer as a result of the volcano eruption? No, not that I know of. Not that I know of. I haven't. I mean, no. Uh, Not that I know of in the sense that, well, I know we didn't feel the earthquake. We just have the volcanic smog. Yeah, we have the volcanic smog. It's going to be 104 this weekend, Jeff, in Phoenix. Yeah, that's see. I Here's the thing. You guys know I travel around. This is why I have Island Hopper TV. So when I when I build a place, I have multiple bases. So I'm just looking to set up another base. I'll still have a base here in Hawaii. I'll still have a base in San Diego. And I'm looking to establish another base in Phoenix. The problem with the base in Hawaii that I have is the fact that it's not very convenient because it's detached from the mainland, which is where the commercial epicenter is of America, right? But it's also more conveniently located to Asia. So there is value in being positioned here. It's just if you want to do business on the mainland, you need to be pretty much on the mainland, in my opinion. That's why I'm considering moving back. Does Pacific Beach, San Diego compare to Kona beaches? Got a Navy buddy? No. There is there is no. No. California does not compete with Hawaii at all. I mean, the beaches in Hawaii, well, number one reason is the water. You don't I don't really care for swimming in Pacific Beach or San Diego at all. It's not like I mean, outside of La Jolla's got some areas where you can see into the water, but I mean, it's cold. I just don't it's not as beautiful. There's not like coral there, so um Kona and the beaches are just no. Pac- Pacific Beach does not compare. I There are some places in Mexico that I'd like to check out to see if they can compare, which is further south, like maybe Cabo. But even then, I'm not so sure if Cabo can compare with Kona. Hands down, the best diving that I've ever seen in the world is probably on the Big Island. Maui's all right diving. They have Molokini. Kauai's got some pretty decent areas to swim. Oahu has Hanama Bay. Hanama Bay is pretty amazing, but there's too many people there, so we try not to talk too much about Hanama Bay. But Hanama Bay is pretty good. But when it comes to like diving, I mean, you can get some pretty great activity over in Kealakekua, Captain Cook, that area. And then there's also plenty of areas just around Kona where you could just jump right off the shelf, the lava shelf right into the ocean, and you're swimming with the whole area of Kona is from what heck from Ho'okana. Don't go to Ho'okana though. You're probably not going to be too welcome in Ho'okana. I'm not saying that because I care, but people don't really want you down in Ho'okana. But more and more mainlanders keep going down to Ho'okana, even though it's beautiful down there. Just don't say I sent you. But Ho'okana, all the way down to you know, heck, you could say Spencer's Beach Park, Waikoloa area. If World War III broke out, what do you think is safer, Phoenix or Big Island? Just your best guess. Ooh. Well, why is the Big Island a target in World War III? Is because, well, you know that like Star Wars, Space Wars, it's so a lot. Hawaii essentially is one big military base that allows people to live as civilians on the military base, but it's because it's forward. They call it an advanced position military base. So here in Maui. They have the Air Force Central Command's Space Wars over on Haleakala. Mauna Kea also. It has the Army National or yeah the Army base up there on Mauna Kea. Then you have the Navy base at Pearl Harbor, and then Kauai has the laser, right? So if I don't know if they used to say if Taipei missile from North Korea was launched, Kauai would be the one to shoot it down. So why restrict airplanes from landing on the Big Island? I don't know if they do that necessarily. Um, I haven't heard about that. Is that where? Oh, you're saying will this restrict airlines? It's not. So Kona and Hilo are pretty much out of any sort of range of this. Puna is far enough south to where it's not an issue. And last time when Pahoa was getting evacuated, they weren't restricting any airlines. So no, I don't think this will affect any sort of inbound traffic. If anything, it could make the island more people could come from far and wide to film this because that's what people there's National Geographic photographers and film crews BBC, NBC, ABC, they all want to be boots on the ground right there in Hawaii. They're probably talking about, hey, let's send our crews down there. So far and wide, all these crews might come to Hawaii, which could eventually overbook the hotels and do all that because the lava has a tendency to overbook hotels in Hawaii when that happens. Is Mountain View safe? I would say yes, Mountain View is safe because it's high up on the mountain, but that's not. Don't take that as credible advice because anything's possible. I mean, it's close enough to the volcano. It's probably not safe if the with that sulfur dioxide that I was talking about. Um, I don't know. I don't want to give you the wrong advice and think that it was gospel truth, and then you end up in a situation where you're like, hey, what's going on with that? What else do you guys want to talk about? Is there still affordable land on Big Island? Yeah, there's still very affordable land on the Big Island, but you got to deal with the volcanoes. Ask the people in Leilani Estates if they want to if they recommend you buying land in the Big Island, right? Any big business opportunities in Big Island? I wonder how people survive in the Big Island. No, if you the only way to really make it on the Big Island, in all honesty, is you've got to have some sort of like reserve funds, or you got to be willing to work like grunt work. So get a regular job. It's not a fertile. It's not. The government has done a fantastic job of making it almost impossible for people from the outside to come set up shop in the Big Island. And like I said, they kind of want to keep it that way because of Mauna Kea's military reserve. Like even in Kona, because of the observatories. My apologies. I'm still kind of sick from China, but um, they kind of want to keep it that way. That's why they use that amber lighting in Kona. Like if you ever go to Kona at night, you'll be like, why is Kona so dead at night? And why do they use this dim lighting instead of like light up the streets and make this place into a fun place? Well, it's because of the observatories. They want to keep the skies really, because if you go up on top of Mauna Kea at night, you can see the stars like you've never seen them in your life. How's downtown Puna? There's no such thing as downtown Puna because the name of the town is called Pahoa, and that's basically dull. It's very dull down there. You'd probably be bored out of your mind unless you're like trying to farm something. But downtown Pahoa is boring, very boring. I mean, it's cool for like a day to stop in, or for like 3 hours to stop in, get some coffee, and walk around. But outside of that, you're like, well, this place looks like it hasn't advanced since 1966. Okay, China, yeah, China is clean. China's fairly clean, but I think you're talking about Tokyo. So Tokyo is very clean. That's why that's just the way it is. I mean, Americans can talk about how they're superior and all that, but you go to Japan. I mean, you compare Japanese streets. So Japan's the most popular, or Tokyo's the most populated city on Earth, right? They say that the largest city on Earth is Tokyo. Well, New York's the biggest city in America. Los Angeles is another big city. But how come the streets of Los Angeles and New York are so dirty, yet compared to the largest city on Earth, Tokyo? Well, because Tokyo people, they have manners. They also have like um they understand what it's like to take care of their place, right? So in Hawaii, they say take care of the aina, aloha aina, right? That means like love the land and like respect it. But Americans, they'll drink, they'll smoke their cigarette, throw it out the window, they'll put it on the ground, they'll crumple up their Coke can, they'll crush it on the street and just leave it there. They'll leave their beer bottle on the street. In Japan, Japanese people are all on the same page. Like every morning, someone gets up and they sweep the street, sweep the sidewalk, they water it down, they make sure it's clean, and it's like so clean. You don't even see cigarette butts. And yes, people do smoke cigarettes in Tokyo. So it's not a matter of, oh, people don't smoke. It's a matter of fact that people have enough manners to take care of their town. And this is something that's been missing in America, where people just take it for granted and they don't. It's like hygiene, but it's social hygiene, city hygiene. And if I say this to a lot of Americans, they get really upset if I start talking like this because they're like, "Oh, you're anti-American. You don't love America. What's wrong with you? I can't unsubscribe this and that." And I'm like, "Well, if you unsubscribe or if you get mad at me for saying that, that doesn't take away from the fact that Tokyo is more clean from than New York or Los Angeles. Like, you can get mad at me, but that's not going to take away from the fact that there's more hygiene value in Japan, right? And someone said China. I think even China is getting to the point where it might not just pass us as the global economic powerhouse, which it's rising. So like America's going like this, right? Or America has been going like this and China's been going like this. So that's why they're saying, like, that's why a lot of people like Trump, because Trump's like, whoa, whoa, we've been going down and the rest of the world's catching up and passing us. So now Trump's kind of like commissioned with the job of having to like stop it and then repair it. But he's telling people things like that they don't want to hear. So like when people hear that we've got to make America great again, they're like, we don't need to do that. We need to do this. And they hear things like that aren't necessarily, they're called inconvenient truths, right? And people don't want to hear the inconvenient truths because they just want to hear the sweet nothings. They want you to whisper sweet nothings in their ear instead of tell them the inconvenient truth. And the inconvenient truth is the rest of the world's passing America because America's going lower and the rest of the world's catching up. So yeah, when someone says something like, "Hey, the trade deficit is unfair," like China, for example, they have I don't know if you guys know this, they have a 46% tariff, something like that, on everything imported from the United States or anywhere else in the world. So if Ford wants to sell a car in China, say it's 10,000, well, they have to add a 46% tariff to it, so that automatically puts it at 14,600. So this tariff is unfair because we don't put tariffs on imports from China, right? So Trump calling that out, some people on the left, they're like, hey, he's crazy. He's a hothead. What's wrong with him? But he's actually right. Like, I didn't even know about this tariff until I got billed at the bar for a shot of Jack Daniels that cost me $28. I'm like, why does a shot of Jack Daniels cost me $28 in China? And then the people were explaining to me because there's a tariff on everything imported. Trump's calling that out, and Americans are getting upset with Trump for calling that out, saying that he's a bad guy and this and that. But shouldn't he say something about that? I mean, that's unfair. If we don't put a tariff on imports from China, why are they putting a tariff on that? Well, the Chinese government wants to get rich if the Chinese people are going to spend that. That's why the Chinese government has so much money and they go build cities out in the middle of nowhere in Africa and all over China that no one even lives in anymore because they got crazy money. And why do they have crazy money? Because they put a tariff on it. And the Chinese people pay the tariff, the tax of 46%. Which island is best for raising the kids? Smash up the likes if you're new here, please, guys. I was just in Japan. Nothing like their integrity. Yeah, it's true. The Japanese integrity is it's great. I mean, integrity is something that's lacking in America right now. And you know, I come back to the United States. Look, you guys, please don't get mad at me for saying this, but I was like, Americans look sloppy compared to Japanese. Like even me, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, I need to cover up my tattoos. I need to step my game up. I need to look more professional. I need to look more clean cut. I need to be more appropriate, more manners because I've been living in the United States where manners and all that have become like a secondary thing. It's not something that I'm taught. Like I'm actually becoming frustrated with myself when I'm over there because I'm like, man, I need to become more prim and proper. It's like in order to fit into Japanese society because they are so prim and proper and it's like a standard because there used to be a thing. It's called the American standard. You remember that saying, the American standard? Now we're dealing with the American standards. Like even the rest of the world's kind of like, well, the American standard. We don't really want that. That's not really something we want. Japan, they've got this. I'm like, Japanese standard, please. But the best island for raising kids, I think probably Maui. Mofo's game says, I believe it. Uh, Thank you, make a left. What about homeless problems in Asia? There's no homeless. Like I didn't see any. I saw maybe like so like if I go to Los Angeles, there's homeless everywhere. If I try to get on a train in Los Angeles, I'm like kind of scared, right? It's kind of scary to get on a train or any sort of bus. It really is. And I'm 6'2". I can only imagine what it would feel like for a 5'5" lady with a newborn child. Um, but in Tokyo, any train completely safe, no homeless. Okay, what is going on with America is what I want to know. That's what I'm trying to say is when I travel overseas, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is beautiful. This is great. I'm not Japanese. Okay. I stand out like a sore thumb, but I'm like, go back to the United States and I'm like, greatest country in the world. You sure, guys? Yeah, there's no homeless in Japan. I mean, I'm sure there is, right? But I didn't see it. I mean, I did see it there. It's not like all roses. I mean, there's like a yakuza, like a gang, and then they have that like kind of underworld. But it doesn't like there's nowhere in Tokyo that I didn't feel, I guess you could say, safe, right? There's nowhere in Japan where I had to look over my shoulder and be like, whoa, like if I go to Jamaica Queens in New York right now, I got people yelling things out, all over the place, and I don't know if they're talking to me or whoever. I get on a subway in New York or Los Angeles, I think there's a fight about to pop off. Has nothing to do with anything other than just America, the state of America. It has nothing to do with race or anything like that. So I'm not trying to stigma like that. I'm saying that it's just something's wrong in America. What year did you end up in Hawaii? You said you moved because you were in a funk. I feel like I'm in a funk. Well, so yeah, I mean, just living in America, it's high paced, a lot of stress in the air. Like I just felt like there was a lot of stress in the air. I just feel like America is a very stressful place, and so I was telling my mom some of my theories on why I think that Japanese and Asian people are more happy just in general than Americans. And her theory, she was like, "You should write that down in a book." I'm not going to share them right now with you guys because I'm still not. My thesis is not complete, so to speak, but I do have some opinions about some things that I could share in another video at some point in time if you guys really wanted to hear those. Oh, you guys are asking how many countries I've been to? I should show you my passport. 1 second. All right. So you guys want to see? Let's see if I can show you guys the countries that I've visited. So this is my first page. On this page, you have I have Ukraine, Costa Rica, Philippines, um, Thailand. Okay. That, and then on this page, I have Korea, um, Helsinki, Finland, which is the EU. So once you enter into Europe, you get you basically get the stamp for EU, but whatever port of entry you come in. Well, actually, no, Finland is part of the EU, I believe. Gatwick, which was another one where I entered Europe because when I went out of the EU and I went into Ukraine, I left the EU and went into Ukraine, which is not part of the EU as far as I know, but they gave me a passport stamp there. I've been to, Italy, France, and all that, but I didn't get stamps for that. Singapore, obviously, um, Amsterdam, which is obviously Netherlands. Then you have Japan, Thailand again because I went back there. Mexico, Malaysia, um, Australia. Got my little Australia one there. Uh, can't even. Some of these stamps they don't stamp correctly. New Zealand, like that one, you can barely even see. It's New Zealand though. What's up? Here's China. There's my Chinese visa. I'm not going to show you all my details on it, but um, China. They give you a full. They take up a full page in your passport. But I've also been to Dubai. Lots of different countries. Cryptocurrency. Some of you guys are investing in cryptocurrency. That's cool to hear. And as obviously as a world traveler, I could see the utility in these mobile currencies because even as I like every country I went to, I had a handful of coins and they were falling out of my pockets. Like I lost coins in trains, I lost coins on taxis. Like they give you a 500 yen uh, coin in Japan, and those can easily fall out of your pocket. But something like a cryptocurrency, it's just on your mobile phone. I mean, you don't have to carry it around with you. You don't have to carry around a giant wallet that's like exploding out of your pocket because you've got your receipts, your bills. You're trying to carry like in Malaysia, it's crazy. Or Indonesia, I should say. Yeah, in Indonesia, they have it's like 50,000 rupiah like it's like $5 or something like that. You're like, okay, I don't need 50,000 rupiah. So, I mean, for $5, right? So it's just kind of weird. If you put it on your phone, look, the whole thing with cryptocurrency is it's growing. There's like Bitcoin and all that. And yeah, they're trying to iron out the safety with the hacking. It's just like they had to iron it out with the banking, where if you were to keep your funds, because we already use digital currency when you use your credit card and you have it on a mobile bank. You don't actually storing $50,000 or $5,000 on your debit card or in your wallet, right? You're not carrying it around in your wallet or hiding it under your bed if you have $5,000. You're holding it in your bank account. Yeah, Vietnamese dong. I mean, you've been to these countries, even Thai baht, right? It's crazy. Even Japan has like $10 is 1,000 yen. It's like you get a 1,000 yen. The first time you get a 1,000 yen, you're like, whoa, okay. First and foremost, am I rich or is this just not a lot of money? Because it could go either way. Then you go to places like Hong Kong where it's like $7 to one US dollar, or Singapore where it's almost the same. Singapore's thankfully one of the easier ones to transact. Yeah, the best place to store your cryptocurrency is in a hardware wallet. People who tuned into this for the Big Island lava flow action are probably like, "Are we talking about the Big Island here? Or are we talking about Vietnam and China?" Which is cool because I'm really happy that we have such a diverse crowd on here. That's kind of what I was hoping to do. I started the whole name Island Hopper TV came about in Lanai. I was swimming in Haluk Bay in Hawaii, like this beautiful, like one of my favorite beaches in all Hawaii is on Lanai. It's called Haluk Bay. You just get off the ferry and you're right there in Hulup. It's right next to the Four Seasons. And I was swimming in the ocean, and all of a sudden I had this idea of how cool it was to island hop around Hawaii. Like I was like, I've island hopped from Big Island to Maui to Lanai to Oahu to Kauai, and I'm like thinking about Molokai. And I'm like, but I also island hop around the world because I'd been to like Boracay, I've been to Philippines, which is a whole bunch of islands, and I knew that I was going to go to Hong Kong, which is another island because I'd already been there, and Singapore's an island. So I was like, man, I'm just going to call it Island Hopper TV because I'm always. But the idea for Island Hopper TV came to me in Haluk Bay in Lanai. Not that that really matters. Yeah, that's Jibba Jabba J was just because I like to talk a lot. That was my nickname. My dad used to call me as Jibba Jabba, and because my name's Jeff J, so they could just call me JJ. Because my name's Jeff James. But uh, yeah, so when I started to think about it, I was like, Island Hopper TV is what we're going to call it because that's. But I still like Australia. I consider an island, even though technically it's a continent. But I still consider, even if I go into like mainland China, I'm still going to post videos because Shanghai, China. I mean, I guess each continent kind of is its own island, even though it's a continent. So I'm still gonna. I'm focused on mostly islands just because it seems like that's the natural progression of where I end up. But I'm still going to post videos from all around the world, even if I go into mainland Europe or mainland China or mainland United States. JJ Abrams. What's going on, Connor? That's that's awesome to hear. He says, "Go back to the mainland, you Hallie." Yeah, Oh, he says, "Just kidding." Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, there's gonna be these people who are gonna say that. But I've got like the thing is, just because I have someone on YouTube say, "Go back to the mainland, you Hallie," then I go walk outside and I come across plenty of Hawaiians who smile at me and show me love, which make me feel welcome and say, okay, you know what? Just because some crazy hothead on YouTube was trolling me doesn't necessarily mean that I got to feel unwelcome in Hawaii. Because, like, when I'll get those comments, I'll go out, I'll be like, okay, is Hawaii against me all of a sudden? Did I do something to upset somebody? And then I'll like bump into like 4 or 5 Hawaiian people and they'll all smile to me and like one guy at the post office gives me a fist bump. Then my neighbor who's Hawaiian, he smiles at me and like he gives me a genuine smile. And then like the lady at the minute stop gives me a free sample of something. So I'm like, okay, I'm still in good graces with real Hawaiian people, but I got trolled on YouTube. I've been to New Zealand. Yeah. I mean, I spent 2 weeks on New Zealand. I went from Auckland down through like Taronga and Mount Mahaganui, uh, Lake Tapa. I think that's what it's called, down to Williamstown. I forgot all the names. There's so many names on the North Island. Then I took the ferry over to I want to say like Nippon or something, or I forgot the name. The ferry where you land in that bay, and then I went down and I landed in Christchurch. Went to the earthquake museum, and it was starting to get cold. I wanted to go to Queenstown, but I didn't go all the way down, and then I just flew back to Singapore because it was starting to get cold. Why don't you try and sell property in Hawaii with camera skills? Because I can't. I tried to study the Hawaiian real estate book, but I was like, man, I don't got time to learn about like all these things, deed for lease and all that. My brother's a real estate agent, but I was like, well, I just need to know real estate agents and if they want to work with me. But I don't know. I don't really want to sell real estate. I do want to sell real estate, but I don't really want to do that right now. But that's my end goal as I'd be more interested in being a builder. So like when I go around, one of the reasons why I travel the world that a lot of people don't know about is I go for research. So I go to learn from all these different areas. Like I take notes in my phone. Like if I go to Bangkok and I see these canal systems, I'll say, well, why don't we build a city that uses canal systems? Or I'll go like if I read my notes to you right now, like I call it smart cities, right? So if I go here to my notes, when I travel the world, I'm taking notes about some of the things that I see for smart city development. So I'm really into smart cities. Like one of the things I took away from Japan, I was like, in these smart cities, we need koi ponds with turtles and pigeons in a Japanese garden. That's like one of my notes, right? Canals, rail systems. I'm really big on rail systems. I like museums like art and science museums. Those are big things that I think all cities should have. And so it's like, how do we bring smart city development to the mainland of the United States? And if the mainland of the United States is just going to hell in a handbasket and they don't want it, then I'll go to New Zealand or Australia and share these ideas in places where they do see the value in it. My concern is that America is diving deeper into a hole, and I just pray to God, literally, that America can get its head out of the sand and like calm down and get back to like normalcy. And I really mean that because I'm concerned about the health of America. And I think a lot of you guys, if you guys living there, you might see it, but you don't fully understand just how bad it's gotten compared to the rest of the world. And it's not just about the basics of the economy. It's about like the overall, like America is hands down the most prideful place I've ever been in terms of ego and all that. And it's not kosher. It's not cool because pride, essentially, what is pride? I mean, I didn't write the seven deadly sins, and I'm not saying you have to subscribe to them, but pride is definitely, they say, the worst of seven deadly sins. So pride to me, ego and all that, cockiness. Whenever I hear an American getting cocky and prideful, especially in the current state of America, I'm like, back up, get down from your high horse because you don't belong there anymore. And the longer you stay on the high horse is causing more and more problems because that's not going to fix the problem that's spreading. Okay. So like you don't see pride in Japan. They have pride, but it's not like a in your face kind of pride. Like you go to America, they're like, get out of my country. This is America, America, beer, whiskey, greatest land on earth. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you are. And I fought in the military for 8.5 years. Well, I didn't really fight. It wasn't like I was like hand to hand combat or anything. I was just serving in the military, but I still love America. It's just if I didn't love America, I would say anything. It's like having a brother on, or like like having a best friend on crack cocaine. Like they don't want to hear you tell them that they need to get off the crack cocaine, but you're telling them that, and they just look at you as annoying, so they stop talking to you. That's kind of how Americans have gotten. They're so hell bent on being out of shape and screwy Louie that when you start telling them that they need to get their heads out of the sand, they get all pissed off. It's not bad in California cities. Good. Yeah, California, that's pretty good to hear, I guess. It's pretty good in like Laguna Beach. I thought Oregon was pretty good. It's just I have to go back to the mainland and compare it. Like I could go back there and be like, hey, things are getting better. We're starting to get healthy again. But being in Hawaii, like the only thing I have to remember is like 2014, how so many homeless people were everywhere. Uh, would I rather retire in another country? No. So how far my dollar goes is not gonna be the is not going to be what matters to me about where I retire. Like how far my dollar goes is not going to be the reason why I'm going to retire somewhere. The reason that I'm going to retire somewhere is for the quality of life. That's why I'm really big into these smart cities. I'm 35 years old. I don't, I realize the longest I could possibly live is to 100 or 100 and something, probably, right? If I'm blessed enough to live that long. But I'm like, I feel like I've got so much work I've got to do between now and 50 to like acquire the resource of influence and money to get into a position where I can start sharing these ideas with people where I don't have so many roadblocks standing in the way with these dunderheads who are legislating us into the ground and running our country into the ground. And so I'm like, look, you guys want more cars, you want more super corridors. I'm calling for more rail systems. Like I'm here to say we need more rail. We need to be more like Singapore. We need to be more like Hong Kong with our rail systems where it's like you can hop on a train and get anywhere within 10 minutes pretty much around anywhere. Tokyo, Singapore, Hong Kong, it's fantastic. I don't see why these cities don't become more like a city like that? Well, the reason is because we're so suburban. So I'm saying, let's calm down with the suburban stuff, and let's get more into like healthy, smart city living, right? So, uh, so what's going on here? Mofo's games. Okay, well, get some facts and numbers together, and we can talk. Okay, so he says, "What am I talking about?" Well, I'm talking. What you want to talk about homelessness? I mean, we could look at the data, for example, on homelessness. So if we look at the data in Tokyo of homelessness compared to the United States, it might suggest something. But when I was walking around the streets of Tokyo, did I feel like there was uh, more homeless in Tokyo or America? And I could look at the data, but I felt overall there was less homelessness in Tokyo. Now, if the data suggests something different, that would be interesting. Oh, he's talking to Jay. I thought, okay, so one of my names is Jay also. um, I hear nothing about but good things about Canada from Hawaii to Alaska should be an easy transition. Yeah, Canada, I like Canada, but it's cold. Like I look forward to going to Canada, but I just don't know if I could live in Canada because of that cold weather. But Vancouver's a smart city. So more cities like in America that could be like Vancouver. For example, Seattle. I think Seattle's starting to develop a smart city environment. Austin, Texas is a smart city. I'm moving back to Phoenix. I'd like to see Phoenix advance more into a smart city. Like if I just look at my notes one more time, so some of the things that I have in there, canals, which Phoenix has, right? They're building the Tempe Canal. They also have the light rail. So Phoenix is getting the light rail. They have plenty of museums in Phoenix, art and science, right? So what about a koi ponds with, you know, koi ponds are parks, right? Beautiful parks where you can go in there and relax and find serenity, which can, like in Tokyo, it's a bustling city, but you can go inside their parks and calm down and relax, which is really important. Some cities don't have that. Banks are screwing us. That's what the Aussie drama says. Yeah, railroads. Like San Diego is another one of those cities that has these smart city infrastructure. It's just because the auto industry is so powerful and the oil industry, black gold, is so powerful to evangelize and advocate for like smart city rail systems. Uh, it's a threat to the black gold money's power supply, right? So if they want, that's why they want these super corridors. In Phoenix, they have the Loop 101, the Loop 202, the Loop 303. And those are just basically three loops that expand out bigger, larger areas of the city. And that means, you're going to be slingshotting around the city. Your 16-year-old daughter, when she gets a car, she's going to be slingshotting around the city at 65 miles an hour with a whole bunch of crazy guys on the road. And I'm like, I don't know if I want my 16, 17, 18-year-old daughter slingshotting around on these super corridors when she just gets her car. And she might do that even though I give her the car, right? So I'm like, that's not very safe. And then you see the statistics of automobile accidents. I think automobile accidents are the number one killer in the United States. Uh, well, I don't know the statistics, and Mofo Games, he might say check the statistics. So I don't want to shoot from the hip here, but automobiles, people die every day in automobile accidents, and I last time I heard of a rail accident in Hong Kong or Tokyo or Singapore, I just didn't. Like, it's just way safer, these rail systems. Obviously, accidents do happen in any which way, right? Same with airplanes. Like, when was the last time you heard of a major airliner crashing? It just doesn't happen. Could happen, but I think even flying on airlines are safer than automobiles. That's why I also like things like Tesla. Like, I'm going to invest more money in Tesla, especially as Elon Musk just sort of ranted on his investor call, which I support Elon Musk because he's frustrated with numbskull investors who just look at the bottom line and not the actual advantages of what he's creating. And they want him to focus more on the bottom line and become more profitable. And he's saying, let's focus more on the technology and what we're developing here instead of the bottom line. We'll worry about the bottom line later. And so Tesla went down. So I'm like, well, there's a buying opportunity for Tesla right now. You guys are asking about Cardano? Yeah, heck yeah, I think Cardano will reach an all-time high again. I don't know for a fact, but yeah, that'll probably end up happening. I mean, you have those altcoins. Which coins do you think will hit the all-time highs again? And I think that the stronger projects have more chance, like Ripple, Cardano, of hitting all-time highs, especially since their projects have gotten stronger even after that all-time high. So it's like, what are you looking at here? You're looking at their projects got stronger and their price went lower. So they had a higher valuation when they were less strong. So what should that mean? In theory, is that if the market is healthy, that better tech, it will revisit that high and probably go above that. Wouldn't that just make sense? So if the project didn't get any better and it got worse, then maybe no, it wouldn't revisit the all-time highs. That's a good idea. I might use that in a video actually. I'd get out of the Bitcoin or any coin market. Normies are just buying to get profit. Yeah, there is that element, but here's the thing. What moves the market is not normies. It's not these millennial 22-year-old kids who are putting in $600. Okay, because most of these millennials that invest, they're not bringing in big money. The big money's coming from the institutions. I mean, even if you put I don't know, a million, or let's just say, I don't know the numbers. You guys maybe have a calculator, but if you brought in 1,000 millennials and they all just invested $1,000, that's, um, that's not a lot of money. That's $100,000. Institutions, when they invest, sometimes they bring in billions. So even if they brought in a million, they're still gonna trump what a group of Lambo millennials are doing. I'm surprised you're not a fan of Sub after your experience in China. Well, even if so, who's to say that Sub could even get into China? Like China, if they could block Google, which is way more sophisticated than Substratum, who's to say that Substratum will even be able to get into China's firewall? They can talk about it, but I don't see how they could because China ultimately uh, would. But yeah, in theory, there's some truth to what you're saying. If they can penetrate that firewall, we'll see. The question is, can Substratum penetrate the firewall? If I save 20,000, do you think that would be enough to safely move and set up shop in Captain Cook area on Big Island? Mm. I Yeah. I mean, sure, but where are you gonna you're gonna need some sort of income. Great thing about that area is worse push comes to shove, you could go get a job at a coffee farm, live on the coffee farm as a woofer, and then pick coffee, right? And still have your 20,000 in the bank. Uh, but if you wanted to do that for like a year or something, I mean, I think it's very seldom do people move to Hawaii and stay for the rest of their life. The percentage of people that move to Hawaii, they're there for like a year, 6 months to a year, maybe 2 years, 3 years, and then they're out. So very seldom do you do talk to those people who say, I've been in Hawaii for 27 years. I've been in Hawaii for 30 years now. But uh wow, yeah, John McAfee's Twitter video. Actually, you guys the volcano and we've talked about a bunch of different things. All right, so I'll see you guys maybe on Altcoin Buzz.